So this week in my classes, we have been focusing on what we can control, because there's a whole lot of things in life at the moment that we cannot control, right? We've got COVID, we've got environmental craziness that's going on, we've got systemic racism, we had Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who just passed away. There's all this crazy stuff, and it seems a lot. It seems very overwhelming, and it seems like a lot of things in life are just so out of our control, right? And this is normal, right? In normal life, there are a lot of things that are out of our control. That's just life, okay? But this particular year seems like there's even more so. So in yoga, what we try to do is, instead of focusing on the things that we can't control, we try and focus on the things that are within our control. So just simple things to get started. If we think about it on our mats, we can control our breath. We can slow the breath down. We can control postures, so we can decide how far to go into a posture. Are we going to go and push ourselves so far that we get to pain? Or are we going to be thoughtful and compassionate to ourselves and just push ourselves a little bit to a point that feels good and feels right, but without, you know, so we need to find that balance of where we're going to push ourselves to. We can, with a bit of practice, also start to control the thoughts in our minds. So we can decide whether we're going to be mean to ourselves, right, which might be something that's just been happening for years and has been going on over time. So it might take some time to learn to change that thought pattern. But over time, yoga helps us to be able to control our thoughts and to think in ways that are more kind and compassionate towards ourselves, and that are more kind and compassionate towards other people. So there are ways that we can control things in our lives, and if we can work on that, it makes for a much more satisfying, happy life. Right? We can also choose how to communicate with people. So if somebody is mean to us, our knee-jerk reaction might be to snap back and be really nasty. But we could pause and think about it and think, well, maybe they're having a hard day, and not take it personally. And then we can respond in a kinder, more compassionate way. So all of these things can control how that relationship goes, because even though we might not be able to control how they treat us, we can control how we respond. Okay, so the world does seem like a really depressing place in many ways, whether if we look at the environment, if we look at systemic racism, if we look at just the way that, you know, there's so much disparity between rich and poor, all of these things, it seems so out of control. Okay, but we can then choose to decide what to do there. And I wanted to end this kind of introduction with a quote from Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because I think it's really nice, and it shows how we can take some control even in this situation where it seems like there's a lot that's out of our control and it seems overwhelming. She says, do something, or here's a quote from her, do something outside yourself. Something to repair tears in the community. Something to make life a little better for people less fortunate than you. And that's what I think a meaningful life is. Living not for oneself, but for one's community. So we might not be able to change the whole world at the moment, but there are little things that we can do within our communities to really make things more manageable, better, more optimistic. All right, so that's where we're starting with. We can play with this sense of control and what we can control on the mat. So we're going to actually start lying down. So you can find yourself on your mat, find a comfortable lying down pose. And you can just feel the ground beneath you and close your eyes. And maybe you can set an intention here. So you can choose how you want to approach this class today. Do you want to approach the class with kindness and compassion? Do you want to approach the class with energy and really push yourself a little bit? Do you want to approach the class being a little bit more calm and just peaceful? So you decide what you need today and how you would like to approach it, setting your intention. And then you can just notice any sounds around you. So we're going to bring our attention to the present. So this is another thing we can control. Where does our mind go? We're human, so it doesn't always go where we want it to go, but we can practice. So just notice where your mind is right now and see if you can bring it to the sounds around you. See if you can bring it to any sensations in your body right now. How is it feeling? Okay, how is it physically feeling? How is it emotionally feeling? And then you can bring your attention to your breath and really slow your breath down here, breathing through the nose. You can place your right hand on your belly and your left hand on your chest. And you can feel your hands move with your breath. Trying to fill your belly and your chest completely as you move your hands. In line with your breath. Taking 3 deep, full breaths here. And then just pausing for a moment here and noticing just being in the present. And then you can gently open your eyes if you like, or you can stay internally, that's fine. Bending the knees, bringing the feet up towards your butt, and the arms can come out to the sides perpendicular from your torso. So you're going to inhale, you're going to lift up your hips, and as you do so, you can give yourself a really nice hug. So bringing the arms and wrapping them around you, giving yourself a hug. Inhale, you're opening the arms up to the sides and your back is coming back to the ground. And exhale, you can switch the cross of your arms, giving yourself another hug as you lift the hips up. So just working with your breath. Inhaling, coming up, giving yourself that hug. Exhaling, coming down. So you can choose to be supportive and kind to yourself. any time you like. And it's a good habit to get into. Hugging yourself on the inhale and lift. Exhale, bringing yourself all down with your breath. Two more like that. And release. The legs are going to come up to the sky. Your arms are just palms face up alongside you for the moment. So you're like legs up the wall here, trying to keep your lower back down to the ground here. And you can play, you can point your feet, your toes rather, up to the ceiling or the sky, and then you can flex. So you're just moving them with your breath. Now you're going to bring your right leg hovering off the ground. Left leg stays up and you're reaching your arms forward, your fingertips towards your lengthened right foot. Shoulders and head coming up from the ground, and then you're going to switch with your breath. So inhaling and then exhaling. So you're probably going to feel your core. It's challenging, so listening to your body, working the move. You can rest anytime you like. Notice the sensations in your body. Knees are going to come in. Give yourself a hug. You can roll from side to side here. You're going to place that left leg down on the ground. Right leg coming up to the sky. Palms can face up alongside you. And this time we're going to just start with small circles with that right foot. So it's just coming in small circles. And then you might get into bigger circles. Just make big circles with that leg, opening through the hip, and then also crossing that leg across the body, almost into a spinal twist. And maybe go in the other direction. You can start big circles this time and then go into smaller circles, coming with that leg back up to the sky. So it's not that easy. Knee comes into the chest, giving it a nice squeeze, and then let that leg just come out and come to the ground, and notice how that feels. Other leg comes up. Again, you can start by making small circles with that leg, and then get bigger with that movement. So that leg is going out to the side and across the body, big circles. Working with your breath, and then you might go the other way, starting big and going smaller. Excellent. Knees coming in, giving yourself well, you might take the left one first, squeezing it in, and then bringing both and just going from side to side here. Excellent. We're going to come onto the side. We're going to do a shoulder opener here. So, Walter, if this is challenging for your shoulder, then maybe you can come down onto your side instead of bringing your arm out. So otherwise, you're trying to bring your left arm out perpendicular to your body, out the back, palm face down. You might want to grab a block. If you don't have one, don't worry, there's other options. So you can come, and I'll show you with the other arm how that would look from this side, from the back. So you're bringing the palm out, the arm out. And if you don't have a block, you can bring your fist underneath your head and just rest like that. So So your choice. And if you want to go a little further, you can bring your fingertips to the ground and tent your hand so that you're using a bit of support with this hand, this arm. And you might lift that right leg up. So just breathe into this here. Lots going on. Can you still, despite all the things that are going on, find that tranquility, that peace, that mindfulness, that staying present within yourself? Taking 2 more deep breaths. Just notice how this feels. When it gets challenging, what happens in your mind? Are you being kind to yourself? And you can gently bring that leg down. So you're going to turn the other direction. I'm just going to move so that I can face you, but you can just turn the other way. So you're bringing your right arm out behind you. Again, if you have shoulder issues, just maybe being very careful here or deciding not to do this. It should help, it could help. You just have to listen to your own body. So fingertips coming to the ground and then lifting up. So obviously, if you have your hand under your head, that's also another option. You just don't use the fingertips. And just lifting the other leg up. So you've got choices. Deep breaths. And slowly calming on down. You're going to turn onto your belly now. Here, finding yourself on your belly. You're going to reach your right arm forward. So the right arm palm can come to the side. You're going to lift up through the right arm and the left leg. So it's opposite arm and leg. Your left hand can just come alongside the lifted leg if you'd like. And breathe. So yoga really helps us with patience, with finding kindness and compassion, but it takes some practice. So keep breathing. And then the palms can come one on top of each other, forehead down on the back of the palm. And just let go for a moment. Finding some ease. Lovely. You're going the other way now. So it's left arm coming up, right leg. Breathing here. So you're lifting backwards and forwards, getting length from heel to fingertips. Excellent. Hands on top of each other, forehead down. Relax. Deep breaths. Slowing things down. So we're now going to then bring the hands into a Sphinx pose here. So elbows underneath shoulders, opening through the chest. You're going to bend through the knees, bringing the toes up towards the head. Now being very gentle with your lower back, so you don't have to go with lengthened arms, but you might lift up. So as high or low as you need to go, just breathing here. Releasing through the arms, so you're back in Sphinx pose, releasing through the legs here. Excellent. Just opening through the chest for a moment. And then you're going to just tuck the toes, lift up through the hips, and you're just going to bring your hands up. So we're going to come into a frog pose. So the knees are going to come out wide. You're going to really see how far you can get those out, away from each other. No pressure though. And then everything else is at right angles. So your knees are at right angles, your heels are at right angles. And you're coming down into a frog pose. Again, you can build up some space for under your head by stacking your hands one on top of each other, or you can come down or onto a block. So anything that feels good here. Taking 3 deep breaths, working with your hips. Breathing through the nose. And then we're going to do lion's breath here, so letting go of any of those things that are really stuck within us or things that we want to control and we're frustrated by. We're just going to let all that out. So we're going to take a deep inhale through the nose, and then we're going to exhale out through the mouth. Tongue sticks out as far as it can go, and you're bringing your focus to that third eye center. So inhaling deeply here. Exhale. You can make a sound like a lion, although that doesn't sound very lion-like. Very ready? Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Excellent. You're going to lift up your feet and bring them over to the left side a little bit. So my right foot has lifted and come over to the left a bit. And then lifting them center and then coming over to the right a bit. So we're just moving them almost like windshield wipers a little bit from side to side. Excellent. And then we're just going to come up onto the hands, bring the feet towards each other and just stretch back into a child's pose. Taking a couple of breaths here. And coming on up, we're coming into a tabletop here. Right foot comes back for a moment. Exhaling, knee comes in towards the nose, and bringing that foot forward between the hands. Inhaling, reaching all the way up. The hands can touch, and just dropping the hands behind the neck, opening the chest here a little bit, taking a couple of breaths. Now you might tuck the back toes here and play with lifting up through that back leg. Inhale, arms come up to the sky and then down to heart center. Reaching forward with the body, and we're going to exhale, twisting to the right side. Now you can always drop that back knee again, that's all fine. Just pressing the hands in towards each other to help stack the shoulders. Maybe coming back to the intention you started with at the beginning of class, and just making sure that you're working within your intention. Inhale, coming back to center. Right, the hands are going to come down either side of that front foot. And then you're going to place the hands down, the right foot coming back to meet the left in plank. Now, you can always drop the knees. Be careful of the shoulders, because you don't want to, if you've got shoulder issues, you might not want to push it too much. So just listening to your body. And then we're going to all drop knees, chest comes to the ground, elbows squeezing in, bottom is up in the air.
So it's a strained one. And inhale, we're going to scoot the chest forward and open, calming into a little low cobra, elbows bent here, shoulders away from the ears, and tucking the toes, calming back, downward facing dog. Bending the knees any amount, finding length through the back, through the arms, through the whole of the length. So you can bend the knees as much as you want to get that length through the torso. And then you can play with straightening any amount. But no need, no requirements here. For your lower back, it's maybe much better to have that bend in your knees. Knees are going to drop. Left leg back behind you. Exhale, knee and nose coming towards each other. Stepping that foot forward. Inhale, reaching up. Bending through the elbows and opening the chest here. Taking deep breaths. And then you can play with tucking that back toe, the back toes, lifting through that back knee, lengthening, pressing the heel back behind you, opening the chest. Inhale, arms come up, and exhale to heart center. You're going to inhale here, reaching forward, exhaling, finding that twist. Trying to stack the shoulders, trying to bring the hands into the center of the chest. Remember, you can always drop that back knee. Inhale, calming back to center. Hands coming down either side of that front foot. Calming into a plank pose. Taking a couple of breaths here. Knees are going to come down, and we're going to bring the chest down and the chin down. Elbows squeeze into the body. Bottom is up in the air. And you're going to inhale, scoot your body forward, opening up through the chest. And then tucking the toes, calming back, downward facing dog. Now we're going to walk the feet up towards the hands, just very slowly, one step at a time. Stepping forward, finding that forward fold. Now, you might have your knees bent any amount. Try to get the chest down towards the thighs, allowing your head just to dangle. You can shake your head no, you can nod your head yes. Folding forward, maybe grabbing behind the shins, and then squeezing yourself towards each other like a sandwich. Bending through the knees, arms coming either side in both directions. And then you're going to come all the way up. You're going to come into a chair pose briefly. So you're going to bring your weight into the heels of the pose. Bring the, and lifting the arms up. Taking a breath here. You're going to then come up onto your tiptoes, lifting up through the heel. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, opening, twisting to the left side. So you're still on tiptoes if it works for you. Inhale, coming to center. Just finding a little bit of humor in here. So again, you can decide how to react if you fall down or if it gets too challenging. Notice what your reaction is. Exhale, other direction.
first sign of being able to control something is noticing what your current way of doing things is. Inhale, center, reaching out and all the way up. Still on tiptoes, stretching up. And exhale, heels down, hands to heart center. Closing the eyes. Slowing the breath down. Slowing the heartbeat down. Inhale deeply through the nose. Exhaling mouth. Ha. Inhale nose. Exhaling mouth. Ha. One more time. Inhale nose. Exhaling mouth. Ha. Excellent. We're going to reach the arms out and up so they're touching at the top. And we can interlace the fingers and have the index fingers pointing up. And we're just going to exhale, coming over to one side. Inhale through center. And exhale over to the other side. Coming back through center. Exhaling, hands to heart center. We're just going to step the foot out. So we're just going to come with parallel, it's more like a straddle. The feet are almost parallel, but bringing the big toes in a little bit, so they're a little bit pigeon-toed. Heels are out a little bit. Inhale, interlacing the fingers behind you, opening up through the chest, so the hands come down and back so you can open up the chest. Exhale, we're folding forward, lifting up through the arms, and trying to bring the weight forward a little bit in your feet. Taking a couple of breaths here. The arms can come up and over if it feels okay on the shoulders, otherwise listening carefully to your body and you're working accordingly. And then you're going to bend through your right knee a bit. So you've got right knee is bent, left leg is straight. And then you're going to go the other way, so you're just bending, coming over a little bit to the left side as the left knee bends. One more time on each side. Excellent. Coming back to center, releasing the arms. So you can inhale and come halfway up. So coming flat back here as you are in this pose. And exhale, you're going to take the right hand down. And then inhale, left hand can come to your lower back, or you can work on stacking your shoulders and bringing the left fingertips up to the sky. Calming into a twist. Now it's your choice. You can take this right hand and go a little deeper if you like and grab onto somewhere on that left leg, maybe ankle, somewhere along there to try and find a bit more of a twist, only if it works for you and for your intention today. Calming back through center, inhaling, finding that flat back. Exhaling, left hand down, right hand to your lower back. And inhaling, bringing the fingertips, if you want, up to the sky. Taking a couple of breaths here. And then you can take the left hand and you can move it over to that right leg if that feels good. And coming back to center. Inhale, flat back. And this time, if you want, you can grab onto your legs and fold down just a little bit more. And then the arms can come out to the side on the inhale, and you're lifting yourself all the way up. Arms are going to reach up. Exhale to heart center, and you can heel toe the feet in towards each other. So we're going to come into a squat here. So you can come down, pressing the arms into the legs, legs into arms. So you may decide to stay here. We're going to also play with other possibilities and just listening to your body. So one option is that you can bring your hands down to the ground and you can kind of put them, place them on the outside edges of your feet. So I'll show you that again. So you're just kind of putting them under your legs and then the hands come either side of your feet. And then you're kind of going to sit down on your arms, maybe bring the feet together a bit, and just see if you can lean onto your arms and maybe lift up your feet. And you may get there, and you may fall down. Notice what your response is. Notice your reaction. Do you get frustrated with yourself? Do you find it funny? Can you find patience? So you first have to notice what's going on in your mind and maybe see if you can adjust the way that you respond if you want it to be different. So just playing with that for a moment or sticking here. Taking a couple of breaths. If you are in squat, opening and finding a little twist. Making sure you go both ways. So you just play with whatever feels good. And then we're going to find ourselves coming down into a seat here. We're going to lengthen the left leg for the moment. Right foot comes over. Right hand is going to be your kickstand. Left arm reaching up. And we're going to use the arm to press into the leg, leg into arm, and help us give a little twist here. Keep activating the toes on this lengthened leg. Finding a bit of a twist, taking a couple of deep breaths. Inhaling, coming back through center, maybe twisting a little bit the other direction, and switching sides. So the left knee is bent, placing the foot down over the right leg, left hand coming behind, tenting the fingers so you can help to get your body up straight. Right arm lifts, and you're just going to use it to press into the leg, leg into arm, and you're just pressing and turning, finding a twist, activating the foot on the lengthened leg. Inhale, calming back through center, a little twist the other direction, and coming back. Legs can lengthen. Inhale, reaching on up. Exhale, lengthening forward. So just stretching, finding length. You might have a lot more flexibility than me, and then you can come further down. That's absolutely fine. But try to keep length through your back. Also, we can play with bending through the knees and then finding more length, maybe folding forward. But just listening to your body, you might find that you're upright, and that's fine, and that this is as far as that is sensible to go for your back. So you just listen. Taking a couple of breaths. Reaching the arms forward and all the way up. Exhaling, calming into heart center, straddling the legs, finding length here. Inhale, we're going to come over that right leg, and exhale, coming forward. And again, trying to keep length through the back. So maybe you're up quite a lot like me, that's all fine. Or maybe you've got more space, or you bend through that right knee a bit to help you get down into that pose. Inhale, reaching forward over those toes, and then all the way over to the left side. Again, finding your length here. So you want length through that back. If you you've got lots of flexibility, go for it, play with it. Activating the toes though, and maybe reaching up, maybe bending through this knee that we're over and coming over it any amount. Inhale, reaching up. And we're going to come into frog pose seated, so the knees are bent, the ankles. We've done frog pose today already, so we have a sort of idea how it goes. You can grab onto your legs anywhere if you can't get your feet. Just listening, trying to find length through the back. So really trying to sit up tall. And you might grab onto the big toes, and you might play with lengthening through one leg or the other, that becomes bear. So maybe at the moment I'm in half bear and half frog. Maybe playing with both, but really keeping that back straight. So it's just up to you. You might find that it's easier to work with one or the other. Wherever you are, coming into boat. So your legs are bent. So it's actually an adjusted version of boat because my legs are bent. And we might open to one side. Maybe you can also lengthen one leg and bend the other, coming into that variation. Inhale, coming up, and exhale, going the other way. Breathing here. Notice what happens when something is hard. How do you respond? Or how do you react? Can you find a different way if you don't like the way that you respond? Inhale, coming up. And squeezing the knees in, getting length through the back. You can press the fingertips down into the ground and lift up through the hips. Finding a reverse tabletop. Being gentle with the shoulders if you've got shoulder issues. Back off if it's too much. And sitting back down. Excellent. Taking one more squeeze here. You might be able to lift up through the heel as you lean back a little bit. Squeezing the knees in. Might get there, might not. Excellent. And then you're just going to take the feet a little further apart. Just drop the knees to one side, lifting them up through center and dropping them over the other direction. So you're just listening. We're just releasing a little bit. We did quite a lot with the hips and the legs. Excellent. So we're going to roll down onto the back, coming slowly down here. Finding your way down to the ground. So we're going to then bring that right knee in here and just give it a little bit of a hug. Sorry, it's the left knee that I've taken in. And rolling from side to side a little bit. And then you might take the foot, so that left foot, into the crux of your right, so it's kind of like in the bend of that right elbow crease. So you then might just give yourself, it's kind of like you can interlace the fingers and just sort of move, you're rocking the baby, so you're doing a little bit more hip work here. So that's one option, is to stay here. The other option is to take the left hand and bring it behind the head, interlacing the fingers of the hand. And then you can just lift up the right leg if you like. So you've got your foot just in the crease of that right elbow. So this is a weird one. Taking a couple of breaths here. And coming up with a variation otherwise. You can always just rock that the leg and work the hip opening if you want, or you can come into happy baby. And release it. We'll work the other side. So you're bringing that left knee in, giving it a little bit of a hug first. And then if you want, bringing that left foot out to the side and just bringing it into the inside of that elbow. You can interlace the fingers and just rock your
leg from side to side. It's a good hip opener here. Other option is interlacing fingers behind the head, maybe lifting that left leg and hovering it off the ground. Breathing here. And release. Knees can come into the chest. You can come into some circles with the knees, going in one direction. And then you can go in the opposite direction with those knees. So you've got a couple of options here. Happy baby is one, where you've got your feet up to the sky, towards the sky. You can grab on anywhere on your legs, or onto the sides, outside edges of your feet. Or you can come and play with shoulder stand. So, but again, just being careful with your shoulder if this is too much. Just stick with happy baby. So if you want to come into a shoulder stand, you're going to work your hands up underneath your lower back, trying to bring your elbows in towards each other. The balls of your feet pressing up to the sky. Toes can open and spread. And you can play here. Maybe you can come into a splits. Maybe you can play with moving them in from splits and from side to side. So it's a bit unusual, playing with what works. Any other variations are good too. And then you can maybe bring the legs up overhead, trying to find plow here. Maybe bringing the toes behind you or onto something, or wherever they get to. The other alternative is bending through the knees and bringing your knees either side of your ears. Taking a few breaths. If you've got your knees down on the ground or your feet on the ground, you can then release your hands from your lower back, interlace them and bring them behind you down on the ground. So just listening and playing here. And then you can roll down back to the ground if you like. We're going to come into fish pose. So the palms of the hands underneath your butt face down, forearms down onto the ground, lifting the chest up to the sky as though you've got a strap around your chest, lifting you up, opening up and opening through the chest, opening through the neck. If you want, you can lift your feet off the ground and just a few inches and play with that there. And then releasing everything down to the ground. Bringing knees in towards the chest again, giving yourself an unconditional hug. We can't control the craziness that goes on in our life, but we can control having our backs, having our own backs, being there for ourselves, supporting ourselves. So giving yourself a big hug. And then we're just going to take the knees and we're just going to move them to the left side, right? So the right arm can just come perpendicular out to the side, to the right side. And if you'd like to, you can look over your right arm. Spinal twist. You can close your eyes. You can choose to go internally here. And you can check in with your intention. And just make sure that you've been working within that. And if not, that's okay too. But just notice it. Observe the intention. Bringing knees up again through center. And exhaling, you're going to come over the other direction.
You might close your eyes. Checking in with your breath. And then bringing legs up again. We're just going to bring ourselves into Shavasana. So you can reach your legs out. You can bring your palms face up, pressing your body into the ground, shoulders pressing down, closing the eyes. Giving yourself permission to let go completely here. Letting go of control, surrendering is so useful in life, learning that skill. So give yourself permission to let go here. There's nothing you need to do. You don't even need to control the breath. You don't need to control your thoughts. You just can be. Finding a little bit of movement in your body, wriggling your fingers, wriggling your toes, maybe circling wrists and ankles. And then reaching the arms up overhead, finding length from toes to fingertips. Bringing knees into the chest one more time, giving yourself another big hug. And rolling onto your right side, right arm underneath your head. Just in fetal pose, noticing the ground there beneath you, there to support you. And gently pressing yourself up into a seated pose, finding a way to sit. You can kneel, you can cross your legs, you can come into half or full lotus. You're trying to get length through your back so you have space to breathe really fully. And your palms can come face up, thumbs and index fingers touching, keeping your eyes closed if it feels good. Just pausing here, allowing the stillness in your body and in your mind. And if in your mind, a thought should come, which it probably will, you're human. Imagine it like a cloud in the sky. You notice the thought, you observe it, but you don't attach to it. You don't keep thinking about that thought. You allow it to float by in the sky, and you bring your mind back to the present moment, back to your breath, back to your body. So we're just going to pause here just for a moment, just for a minute. Giving yourself space to pause for some headspace allows you to be able to respond rather than react. So respond in a way that's more in line with maybe your intentions. Just notice how you're feeling after that short pause and after that class. How you're feeling physically, how you're feeling emotionally and mentally. And then bringing the hands to the heart center. And we're going to inhale, reaching the arms in both directions and all the way up to touch. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching out and up, touching, exhaling to heart center. Inhale, reaching out and up, exhaling to heart center. Finding some kindness and some compassion towards yourself and then bringing your hands up to the third eye center. It's always a pleasure guiding you through your practice. Thank you for being here, for your energy, and namaste.